appreciated, sir.
Well, thank you, George, very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. And it's a pleasure to be part of a panel, just to be associated with Jeff and Jason, you know, two really brilliant and great gentlemen. And, you know, I'm glad to be on the show with them today. So, you know, I've been in a county commissioner now for, I'm in my third term, 9th year. So I started when the gas industry first came to town. And everything that Jeff and Jason's been saying about, you know, what happens in their communities is exactly what happened in our communities. But there's a little bit of difference for us. We're a very rural community. Our largest industry before the gas business came here was the bluestone industry, seconded by the farm industry. And the largest farm maybe had 90 head of cattle, and that was it. But a lot of those farms were failing. There wasn't a lot of opportunities for young people to stay. Most people would leave and would not come back. They might retire and move back, but they go elsewhere to find better jobs that they can go to work at. This industry has come into this area and it's created educational opportunities. It's done things in our local schools. It's done things with a local college. We had no local college. Today, because of the gas industry, because of Cabot Oil and Gas, we have a local college that's preparing kids for this industry. We have a CDL program. We have another educational program at our Career Technology Center, training people again, not only for this industry, but to have the opportunities to go into other industries and have a great life. This is a program that came into our communities that has brought the ability for a farmer to come to me that's 80 years old, an elderly lady, and say, you know, thank you very much. You know, we can now save our farm and we don't have to slice it up and sell it off to pay our taxes. We can keep our farm, we can expand, we can make things do great. We have businesses that have just boomed, skyrocketed. And I'm not talking about the gas business itself. Yes, the gas business has hundreds and hundreds of jobs. We have kids getting out of school that are walking in and getting careers that are paying $50, $60, $70, $80,000 a year with benefits. Well, you just didn't have that here before. And we have local businesses like hardware stores that have tripled in size because it's a trickle-down effect. And the revenue that comes back to the state and to the local communities from this entire process is unbelievable. We're talking like $1.8 billion the gas industry paid in a tax to the state to get funneled back into programs. We're talking about over $40 million back to Susquehanna County alone, county government. We're talking about townships and boroughs receiving funding through the Act 13 to take and build buildings, do infrastructure, do things they could have never done before. We're talking about the ability for the county to give $5 million back in taxes to the community out of this money, which is unbelievable. We have not raised taxes since 2005 in this county. And this is a perfect reason what's helped us to do this, by able to having funding to do the things we couldn't do before. So there's a lot of moving parts to this: land value, community, the outreach that businesses do because they have the funding now, the education, you know, the townships and the jobs. And I'm hoping we can get to that today.
We all touched upon it, and something that may be unique, it's the agriculture side. But I think that you and I have spoken in the past, you hit upon it. It was that land value and the growth of the farms. There's a perception that farmers get pushed around. That's false. And that their land is less valuable today. So why don't we start there? I see some questions are coming in, but why don't we start there? And I'll go to you, Alan, and on what you're seeing specifically. You mentioned the 80-year-old farmer. How has it been really in depth, the benefit, sir?
So let's talk about property value first, because everybody likes to talk about the money. So before the industry came here, you're looking at property values for farms, $500, $750 an acre. When the gas industry comes, you got property values well over $10,000 an acre. That's the value of this property. So, and then you have the individuals that have these farms that take and sign the gas lease, and they start receiving the royalty payments, and they sign and get the bonus payments. I think the magic number right now for Susquehanna County is around $2 billion in bonus payments and royalty payments to the people of Susquehanna County that own land. We've got 46,000 people in this county. I mean, $2 billion. I mean, what that did for these farms, it built new barns, bought new tractors, allowed them to expand their herds. It allowed them to grow more crops. It allowed them to take and build new homes, renovate their homes. It was unbelievable the effect it had on the farmers in this area. And people said, well, you know, they come in, they're going to put a pipeline across. When that pipeline's done and gone, it looks better than it did before they started. There's no issues there.
Alan, from your standpoint, again, more rural in Susquehanna County. You work with Tony Ventello with Bradford, and likewise, you are on mute, so before you go and answer, don't miss that one. But the idea of everything you're seeing from a commercial and industrial standpoint, you're seeing growth, I imagine, across that area.
Absolutely. I mean, we've already seen growth come in an area south, just south of Montrose, with the Diaz operations, went in and put a small industrial park in and has some businesses in there already. So we've seen that growth. We've seen stuff with RHL that's done stuff over at the Gibson area to put some growth there. We've seen businesses pop up at other areas throughout the county in the growth. We've been advertising. If you remember, a few years ago, we did the Susquehanna County's Open for Business. We did a program trying to bring businesses into the county. We feel we're at the point now that we have a lot of the infrastructure in place now that we can start to offer good sites for companies to come in here and use this natural gas as part of their processing to take and get some products to market.
And what I'm familiar with is you're right on the New York border. And to take Jason's piece, I'm not so certain their energy is as reliable there, given the lack of infrastructure. And again, you're in that spot where you can entice companies to come over into the Commonwealth and locate in Susquehanna County. You're probably seeing activity along those lines?
Oh, absolutely. We see not only companies, but even people from across the line that want to come to Pennsylvania. Of course, the natural gas, the ability for us to take and provide those services at a more reliable and lower cost is a huge impact for the businesses, but also the tax structure in this county versus the neighboring county in New York State there's such a huge difference that people are, it is definitely a seller's market for properties right now in this county. There's not enough properties for sale, and there's buyers coming from every place.
Commissioner Hall, there's no doubt that, your county has seen this probably, to my experience, the most. To the School of P&G that Lackawanna College put into the CDL school at Elk Lake, and your own background in trucking. I have to imagine it's worked very well, and I'd love to get your insights on this, sir.
Well, yeah, this is, again, this is another amazing story for me. When you talk about our county, we never had a formal education, colleges or universities in our county. We had our 6 school districts, and if you wanted to go to college or go someplace, you had to leave the area and go someplace else. But, it was the foresight of the industry, and again, kudos to, you and Cabot Oil and Gas for working with Lackawanna County to get that School of Petroleum and Natural Gas started in our county, to know that we needed to train people for this industry and give people a good chance to be able to get great paying jobs and provide a good life for their family. So, it's just amazing that school's here. And what most people don't realize is you guys just didn't kind of help start it. But my last count that I thought, you guys did a bunch of fundraisers to help keep them substantially going. And the last total I had was you'd raised over like $4 million for that college to to keep them moving forward and keep tuition down and getting equipment. So, hats off to that. And, then we go to the CDL school at Elk Lake Career and Technology Center. Again, another move by, Cabot Oil and Gas and the industry, and partnering with some other companies to say, listen, we have a huge need in this county. We need hundreds of truck drivers, and there's nobody that's qualified to drive. There are no CDL drivers. So creating that school and having the foresight to put that in place and get this program going and put opportunities for people, because these aren't just jobs that people can use in the industry, the oil and gas industry. But listen, they can get their CDL license, they can go to work for UPS, they can go to work for a freight company, they can go into their own private business. So there's all kinds of opportunities. And, both these programs are just doing fantastic thanks to the industry being here. And George, you hit something, a nail on the head for me that I wanted to go back to is, we have created such an opportunity for our young people to take and go through the Career and Technology Center or go through the petroleum natural gas business or college and get the certifications and degrees they need. But we've given them an opportunity to see the world. A lot of kids in our communities never get outside our communities or outside. If they get outside our county, that's good, but really never get outside the state. But we've given them an opportunity now. And I know several young men and women that, like you said, they've gone to Oklahoma, they've gone to the Dakotas, they've gone to Texas. They have had such an opportunity to open their eyes as to what's going on around this country. It's unbelievable. And that's all because of this industry.
What are we missing? What do you want to make certain that people understand in the 10 years time frame of things that have happened that may be overlooked, that may be forgotten, or not even, again, directly impacted to the industry, but has actually lifted the county that you're in? Alan, you had a chance to listen to sort of some of the things that were maybe not being stated. I want to give you that opportunity, and I'm gonna pivot from Alan when we're done, because a question came in regards to the presidential election. So Alan, I'll let you start, and I got a question in regards to Alan.
So let me first start out with, community. So we already talked about the college and what the gas industry did to bring that to our area. We have a brand new hospital that is probably 6-7 years old in Montrose, because the gas industry helped bring that to our community. We had an old hospital that was falling down. It was past end of life, and thankfully Cabot Oil and Gas stepped up and was very generous and helped to get it kicked off the ground and got that big initial push that we needed to get that brand new hospital going. So again, that's big. You talked about our library. We got a brand new library in Susquehanna County. They were fortunate to get donors to put up close to $5 million to do that. But we don't talk about, we don't say enough how we thank the industry, especially Cabot, for donating a van so they can deliver the books and go from each one of their branches. That's all a big thing. And we don't talk about the tire cleanups that the industry has helped with, that has funded and went out and supported cleaning up tire dumps around the community and helping the interfaith with all the less fortunate. But when you go back to the local businesses, and I wanted to touch a little bit on this, and Jeff and both Jason talked about the trickle down effect of what this industry does. And this is a great example here. We've got two local businessmen, Adam Diaz and Robert He, that both deal with the oil and gas industry and have built businesses from that industry to take and do the things that they do. And because they've been successful and they've done well, they've turned around and done some pretty special things. We had a school that, one of them went into and bought brand new sneakers for all the kids in the school. Another one went into another school and did pretty much the same thing, bought coats. The giving back by these people that have gotten this money is unbelievable to the communities and to the nonprofits and the people and what's going on. But, if you take a look at, our county itself, the county buildings and the operations of the county, I mean, 2012, when I took office, our county was $13 million in the red. Our pension fund was about 43% funded, and we had all kinds of issues and problems. Our building was 200 years old and falling down around us. We still had a coal furnace that was 110 years old that heated the place that a guy was shoveling coal in twice a day, 7 days a week. So where we've come from that is we've put over $10 million into the courthouse, and it's all modern. We have 2 natural gas boilers. We were able to get natural gas to the courthouse. We have 2 boilers that are running clean and efficient. We put air conditioning systems through that are gas fired. We've been able to take and fix our technology and do all those things without raising taxes and borrowing money because of this industry. But at the end of the day, we're now in 2020, and today we have a county that hasn't raised taxes since 2005, gave over $5 million in tax breaks back to the taxpayers, has taken and fixed all the infrastructure of its facilities without borrowing any money or raising taxes to do it. And currently we are building a close to $19 million public safety facility without raising taxes or borrowing any money. Now, just stop and think about all those expenditures. Now, all this stuff would have to be done at some point in time. So without this industry and this money flowing through the way that it does, we would have had to borrow money. Our taxpayers would be on the hook for $50–60 million, and they're not on the hook for a penny. So it's pretty amazing. You know, I could spend an entire day telling you about the benefits and what it's done for this county, for the people of this county, and people would just be awed with the things that are going on here. So, you know, I thank you for the opportunity to at least share part of the story of what's going on and all the great things being done.
And it's with that point of sharing the story that, you know, one of the questions came in from a member of the audience saying, you know, with this being an election year and your communities being little microcosms of what's going on, has there been any has there been any outreach from either side of the campaigns to take a look and see what's going on, whether it be Biden or Trump? The idea of asking folks like yourself who were on the ground seeing the upside, has anyone done any outreach to you?
Well, George, you know, what I see from my side, you know, in this county is, you know, the one side, of course, is all pro-gas, and those people are in constant contact with us. You know, our state legislators, our federal legislators, you know, they're in constant contact with us all the time. People from, you know, the Trump campaign, you know, they're talking to me all the time about it. You know, the support is there. It appears that the other side, you know, from what we understand is not so gas pro, they're more gas negative. And, you know, nobody ever reaches out. Nobody has the conversation. So, you know, that's the unfortunate part about this is, you know, I kind of go back to a testimony I did many years ago in Harrisburg on the Act 13. The Act 13 funding was put in place, and we call it a tax, they call it a fee, whatever you want to call it. But there was a Senate hearing I was asked to speak at. And when I went to that Senate hearing, there was like 6–7 senators sitting up there. And you could tell which ones were from which party. And, you know, finally, after about, you know, 2 hours of questions and answers, I finally asked a question. I said, well, how many have actually read the Act 13 legislation and all of those documents? And there was only like 1 or 2 hands that went up. So if you don't know what's going on, but you're making the decisions, you're not really doing the best you can for your constituents and the people that you're supposed to be supporting. And, you know, I just hope more people, I hope a lot of people see this. I hope a lot of people have the opportunity to start asking the questions and saying, you know, what really is going on? Because the stuff that's getting published, a lot of it is not true.